This is the episode I was telling you when I was building the cabinet about battery banks, how to wire them, what they do, what they're capable of, what they're not capable of. Very exciting episode. This is for entertainment purposes only. Don't ever do this. Could get hurt. You know. Disclaimer. Don't do. So let me tell you about these. There's a lot of information on the internet that I don't agree with. Okay? From a lot of research, and it's not just myself, this is the least expensive, best battery to build your bank with. Alright? Up front. Okay? Some will tell you, oh, don't do this, don't do that. The best, least expensive way to get started. This is from Advanced Auto, and it's a marine dual-purpose battery. This battery is full of lead. It weighs 59 pounds. It has a tremendous reserve capacity, and that's right here on the label on the top. It's an Autocraft battery, reserve capacity 210 amp hours. Okay. Now we only drain a battery 50%. Okay. In an emergency you could go further, but it's not good for these kind of batteries to go below 50%. Very important, very good battery. Like I said, this is in 12 volts. If you were to be talked into buying golf cart batteries, those are 6 volts. And you'd have to buy 2 at a time to make 12 volts. Okay, why am I going into this? Why do I think this is so important? You're going to learn a great deal right now. A lot of our power plants in the United States are coal powered. And there is a hand in motion right now that I'm not going to get too political, but they want to limit coal plants. And they're going to be reducing them. And our country is growing, and they're reducing our power. So we're going to be going into a period of blackouts, period. You can discuss it and argue with me. You're going to see it. There's going to be blackouts coming. Other countries are experiencing it now. Okay? So this allows you to have modern conveniences when the grid goes down. Okay? Let me show you how easy it is to use a battery bank. A battery bank could be one battery or many different batteries assembled together. There's different ways to put them together. If you've ever seen in a basement or a garage a photograph of somebody that has lots of batteries, okay, I'm against that idea. A battery has a life, and they're expensive. This battery runs about 150 bucks. Now, Advanced Auto every now and then kicks out coupons for $20 or $25 off, and that's when we buy these batteries. Okay? You're also going to need to scrap around and find, doesn't matter, just any other kind of battery, whether it's off of a lawnmower or out of a junk car, a core deposit, so that all you have to do is pay for the battery. So you want to have a throwaway battery that you can give them, and you want to have a coupon which you can give them. And that's the best way to buy these batteries. But you only want to have 2 to 5 of these kind of batteries because they have a life and they're expensive and they're not needed for what I'm talking about. Okay, now there's probably going to be a lot of arguing on the net about this. That's my stand, and a lot of thought has gone into it. By using something called an inverter, and as you can see they have household plugs on them, also they have a USB port right here which will charge anything that takes a USB. This will convert 12 volts again to house current. Okay? And it's so simple to do. You can't get any easier. On a battery, you'll see a negative terminal post, and it has a minus sign, and a positive terminal post, and it'll have a plus sign. On your inverter, you simply take your red post and put it on the plus, right? Just like so. And your negative, put it on your negative post, just like so. And now you can plug in anything you want, any appliance, up to 410 watts. If you go over your 410 watts, this will shut off. To simply demonstrate, plug in your lamp, turn on your switch to the inverter, okay? And there's a fan in these. And what we've just done is changed a 12 volt battery's current into household 115 volts current, powering lighting or what have you, computers, TVs, VCRs, that sort of thing, DVD players. And when you shut off the lamp, the inverter then goes into a dormant state. By using power strips, all of mine were taken, so it doesn't matter. You've seen the long strips with a little switch on them. They're real handy because you don't have what they call phantom draws. That would be a small light or a small clock that would be constantly draining your battery. But by using this plugged into one of these, you now can plug in 5, 6 lamps and you're not in the dark. You have your entertainment system running. You have your computer system running. You're charging your cell phones. All because you have a battery bank when the grid goes down, and it will go down. Let's talk inverters for a moment. This was bought at Walmart. It's a Schumacher. It's a good inverter. I think it was I think it was under $40. It might have been under $50, but 410 watts. Okay? With an LED or a compact fluorescent, you could run lights throughout your house on this. Okay? This is a 300 watt power inverter. Okay? So it has less capacity than this. This was under $200. Okay? I would have at least one of these, and I would have a couple of these. And these can be different numbers here. They can be, I'd have a few 410 watts, I'd have up to 800 watts. I wouldn't power anything greater than that because it's drawing down your battery faster. This isn't designed to be running an electric stove, your air conditioning unit, your refrigerator, that sort of thing. As you can see, this is a smaller inverter power-wise than this, but it's 4 or 5 times as large, and it's 4 or 5 times the cost. Okay? What's the difference? On the net, I'm going to get a lot of flack on this also, but this is what they call a pure sine wave. Okay? I would use this, and people will argue, you don't need this. Okay? But if you're running your computer system, if you're running your large screen TV, if you're running any electronics that are, how should I say, fragile, use a pure sine wave. Now, I would use this mainly, the inexpensive one, but I would be using this for things that I don't care about so much, and things that definitely it doesn't matter on, such as LED and compact fluorescent lights. But I do definitely believe there's a place for a pure sine wave, and without getting into it too much with you, it's important. And people will say, oh, it's not important. Just real super fast, back on the sine wave. These inverters, if you had an oscilloscope, you'll see a wave, okay? Well, an inverter changes, like I said, the 12 volts to house current. And you could get a stepped up wave actually instead of that beautiful bell curve. And at the very top of that wave, you're going to get a flat line. And that flat line across the top is the DC. Now remember, we're trying to get alternating current. DC is direct current, and that's what your battery is. That is what burns up components, depending on how long that line is, because it's all flowing in one direction, and it's overheating fragile components. Like I said, that's a very touchy subject, and a lot of people are going to argue about it. I believe it's well worth having a pure sine wave inverter on expensive electronics. A battery bank is such a simple concept. It's a storehouse of energy. And if you're sitting in Argentina and your house is dark, this is a wonderful idea. The power will come on, but it's intermittent. So if you have a smart battery charger, and it's pretty important, and if you look on our website, I'm going to start having a bunch of these components so that you can at least research them a little bit, find them, and if you buy them through my channel, we make a small commission. But that's not really important. I really want you to start looking at these components and have one for your house, your getaway retreat, your campsite, what have you. But a smart battery charger charges up your battery in a specific manner. It dumps a lot of energy into it in the beginning, and then it tapers it off, and then it trickles it in the very end. And what that does is it allows your battery to last a great deal longer. But the way this would work in your circumstance, if you were in, again, Argentina, plug this in your wall when you don't have power, okay? Put your terminal posts on your battery, make sure you don't get them backwards, and when the power comes on, this automatically turns on and starts recharging your battery. And then when you need to use it, again, you're using the inverter. Very, very simple, okay? Battery charger. Puts energy back into your battery. That brings up another piece of equipment that you may or may not need, depending on your circumstance. People think that solar power is such a complicated affair. It's not at all. And I'll show you what really a solar array is. A solar array is simply a battery charger. Okay? Having an MPPT solar charger controller, or a controller, what an MPPT does, again, this is very important and a lot of debate on this, but get a controller that says MPPT. What it does is it takes the energy created from the sun and maximizes it to put it into the battery. But what is a solar array? How does it work? Well, in the simplest terms, again, it's a battery charger. Think of a panel that you've seen, we're all familiar with it, and it has two wires coming out of the back of it. That's a plus and a minus. You'll go down here and you'll see a picture of a solar array. Okay? Take the plus off of the panel and the negative off of the panel, and you simply hook this to the plus terminal, because it says P and it's got a little battery picture, and this to the negative terminal, and you have a sustainable way of recharging this without the grid. So if you have a little RV or a camp out in the middle of nowhere, and a 250 watt panel that you'll see on my website again also, where you can purchase it and how much you can get it for, with a controller, your battery bank is being recharged. A solar array is not as complicated as everybody makes it out on the internet. All you need is a solar panel, a controller, and a battery, and you have a battery bank. It's that easy. By the way, one final note here, if you come all the way across, you'll see a little light bulb picture. Okay? This set of terminals here is for anything that's direct current, okay, that doesn't need the inverter. If you have this, I like Engineer 775's channel. He does a lot of projects involving water. If you have a well with a DC pump in it, this, without a battery bank and an array, will get the water out of the ground for you. Very interesting channel. Take a look at it if you get a moment. You've seen this before. This is my kilowatt easy meter. Really important. It tells me how much energy in watts. Okay, I stay in watts. It's very easy for me to understand things in terms of watts. How much energy I'm using. I want to make sure that my inverter is sized for what I'm using. And if I'm just using a bunch of LED lights that are from 8 to 15 watts, and I have a 400 watt inverter, I'm in good shape. I would put this on my TV when I have the grid to see what that's drawing, what my DVD player is drawing. I would stay with those kinds of things. Again, I would stay away from trying to heat water with this system. I would then go to kerosene. Kerosene heaters, kerosene stoves, that sort of thing. This really is to keep me out of the dark and keep me informed. It charges my cell phone, charges my laptops. That's what the system that I'm showing you will do. Building a battery bank. Okay? They tell you that you should buy these in pairs if you're going to be doing this. Well, if you're growing the system, you can't buy them in pairs. So I catch a lot of flack on this. Buy one battery and then in a month or two, buy a second battery and a third battery. I wouldn't get this thing too large though, because like I said, batteries have a definite life on them. But how do you join them? Very simple. Using short cables, okay? This would be plus to plus, negative to negative with the black one. And a lot of people are going to say, whoa, Gene, you wired that wrong, okay? What they would like me to do is go plus to minus, and then negative and positive to my inverter. I'm not going to get into that too much. You can wire it either way. I'm wiring it plus to plus and minus to minus. If your inverter is 12 volts, 24, 48, that could have a bearing on it. Mine will go any of those, so I'm going 12 volts. If you go plus to minus, you add your two batteries together and that just became a 24 volt system. I'm staying again 12 volts. The last thing I want to hit upon, a lot of information in this short video, but battery maintenance. Okay? Wear goggles. Make sure that you don't touch these two terminals together with anything metal. I know it sounds childish, don't. Try to keep your sparking down. Okay? A lot of people are telling me, Gene, you can't have these in the house. You know. Well, there are different types of batteries, and there are much more expensive batteries called gel batteries. I'm not so concerned about this explosion factor everybody's worried about. Batteries, while they're charging, create hydrogen gas. A spark can ignite it and blow the thing up. Alright? Well, hydrogen gas is a lot lighter than oxygen. This is my opinion, and I'm going to get a lot of flack on it. Take it for what it's worth. Hydrogen gas being so light, as soon as it leaves this battery, and it's very, very little, and only again while it's charging, it wants to leave the building as fast as it possibly can. So I don't believe this is that big an issue. If you feel it's an issue, like I said, please don't do this. Don't do this at all. This is just purely entertainment. Battery maintenance. Wearing goggles, having baking soda, because these are acid-filled baths over lead plates. When you pop these open, you're going to see 3 holes right here and 3 holes right here. There's 6 cells, and you fill them up to the very bottom of the fill holes. Okay? You don't overfill these batteries. And I would check them once a month as you're using them, charging them up, using them, charging them off. You want to use distilled water. Okay? I would only use distilled water. And again, only to the bottom of the cavities here. I would not overfill them, just right to the very bottom of the fill marks. Battery banks are a great idea, and they're going to be very necessary in the very near future. Definitely look into this. Do your research. It's coming your way. Catch you on the next one.